all day for Sunday night. It's week 15 of the 2025 NFL season for the final time in the prime time spotlight. The doors of AT&T Stadium are open as the Minnesota Vikings are in town, and here come the Dallas Cowboys with slim but still possible playoff hopes on the table. They need to win out, plain and simple, and it starts tonight. 7:20 kickoff on NBC. This is Cowboys Pregame Live, presented by WinStar World Casino and Resort. We are live from the sideline here at AT&T Stadium alongside Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, and Nate Newton. Soon to be joined by Nick Eatman, Nicole Hutchison, and a slew of special guests here in a couple of moments. This is really an opportunity for Dallas to prove that last week was a bit of a fluke. It's been off the mini bye. The Cowboys, of course, fell in week 14, 44-30 to the Detroit Lions. But as we said, those playoff hopes are there, but they are very, very slim, to say the least. Let's take a look at the NFC East standings. Of course, the Philadelphia Eagles win today. They would need to win or lose two of their final three games, two of which are against the the Washington Commanders, and then one of them is against the Buffalo Bills. So they need to fall twice in their final three games in order to give Dallas a chance if Dallas were to win out. They started that off in a big way today against the Las Vegas Raiders, a 31-0 Week 15 win as they dominated in that game. But guys, you've been in playoff pushes, you've been in late season scenarios. Isaiah, I'll start with you. How do you avoid scoreboard watching and take care of your own business?
It doesn't matter to you. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what you do on the field tonight. You can go out there and control the opponent that has stepped inside your building, in your house. You take care of that, and then you hope for the rest. You wait for the remainder of your schedule to show up. You knock those guys out week by week, play by play, and then you allow whatever else is going to happen outside of your control to take place. That's all you can control is what's here going on tonight.
Yeah, without a doubt, Isaiah. When you talk about, what this team needs to do, they just got to lock in. And to me, you lost the ability to control your own destiny. All right, even if these guys do go out there and win the remaining 4 games, you're going to need help from other teams out there in order to get into the playoffs. So why even worry about those distractions out there? Focus on what you can control, and what you can control is how you play out there with the Minnesota Vikings tonight. So for me, all those other distractions, they're just going to cause L's. We all understand that. When you go on this football field distracted, thinking about other things, you're going to take a loss on the football field. So go by play-by-play, series-by-series, whatever the case may be, but you got to lock in tonight on the Minnesota Vikings.
I agree with you guys 100%. You do what Isaiah said. You definitely do what Barry Church say. But what's wrong with kicking back, getting you a hamburger, brats, your favorite beverage, and watch? I had to do it for several years before we got into the playoffs. So keep watching, baby.
Keep on watching. I don't want Dallas to watch. Let's be very clear there. You don't need to watch it. We can watch that. Nate can get all the drinks and the bratwurst that he wants in order to do so. Of course, we didn't anticipate the Las Vegas Raiders to upset the Eagles, so the possibility is still there, but it's still very slim for Dallas. Let's talk about the good side for the Cowboys tonight. They are getting CeeDee Lamb back in the fold. Of course, he suffered a concussion late in that football game against the Detroit Lions. He comes back to practice this week and looks like he's a full go, Isaiah. What does that mean for this offense, getting him back out there?
It's good to have him back. I mean, just from the standpoint of that's your number one receiver. Obviously, statistically, that's not necessarily the case this year, but you know what you invested in. CeeDee Lamb is a leader at the receiving position. Obviously, George Pickens is there to make some additions as well. He's been huge this year, but you look to CeeDee Lamb to kind of be that leader for you. You're happy that he's in the building tonight.
Yeah, when you get CeeDee Lamb back, you're getting another playmaker out there. You're getting one of the NFL's most dynamic receivers back into the lineup. And what that does, it opens pretty much everything else up for everyone to eat out there as well. As a defensive coordinator out there, you kind of pick your conundrum. Do you leave your safeties back deep in order to make sure this team doesn't have those explosive plays? When you do that, you have a light box, and that's how Javonte Williams eats. Or you double team one of the two. You double team George Pickens, you leave CeeDee Lamb by himself, and vice versa. So what he brings to the table is opening up everything else for the offense and making a matchup nightmare for defensive coordinators to go out there and coach against.
What it allows you to do is you make Brian Flores pick a side. I mean, he's got a tremendous great defense. They blitz a lot. And what CD and George does and the kid in the backfield, the juggernaut, it just gives you a bunch of options, be able to get that ball out of your hand quickly.
You mentioned options. Of course, this year it has been pick your poison for opposing defensive coordinators because of the prowess of not only CeeDee Lamb, but because of George Pickens as well. There was some criticism in that Detroit Lions loss, especially from Richard Sherman as a part of the Amazon Prime post-game show on George Pickens' performance. Let's take a listen.
The big story here is George Pickens. George Pickens throughout the game, especially late in the game, just looked uninterested in playing football. You know, and that's what you can't have. If you're going to be a superstar, if you want to be the best receiver in the National Football League, you can never be disengaged. It doesn't matter if the game's going your way or not going your way. You can't just disappear in these games or else you're not going to have impact. And just right here, cruising routes. You're the guy. You're the guy. CeeDee Lamb is not in this game. He's out, and you get intercepted on your slant routes, and you can't be the guy and half-ass it. I'm sorry, that's just, you can't, it's unacceptable. And if you're the Dallas Cowboys and you're looking at him and you're looking to pay him big-time receiver money, $40 million, you got to look at this tape and say, hey, is this a guy we can trust paying $40 million to show up regardless of circumstance? Yep. I don't know.
That's one thing from Richard Sherman. Back, and he never has held back, even back in his playing days when he would go to the media. You knew exactly what Sherm was thinking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
First off, your thoughts on what his comments were, and were they warranted for a guy who's had a great season here in Dallas?
You may not have liked the delivery of the message, but you cannot argue with the message. The fact is, what Richard Sherman was saying was true. If you are in a position of being the 1B on this team, which George Pickens is, when the 1A steps out, you are expected to take over the game. You cannot loaf. You cannot take plays off. You cannot go out there and choose not to run full speed. You can't alligator arm, opportunities. These are all true statements. So you might not have liked how Richard Sherman delivered the message, but again, the message is true.
Yeah, the delivery was kind of harsh, but I agree with you as well, Isaiah. I mean, what he was saying was backed by facts and what happened in that game with George Pickens. But when we talk about tonight, what do we expect from George Pickens on this football field? I expect him to be that same dominant receiver that we've seen throughout the entirety of this NFL season. I mean, last week I think was an anomaly. I think it was a one-off. I think George Pickens, when he gets out here tonight, those one-on-one opportunities, he'll be able to relish in those. When he gets the ball and he's able to have that yak opportunity, I expect him to go out there and be a baller, what he's been doing all season long. So in order for that to happen, they're going to have to get the ball in his hands. I think they're going to do that early and often in this game tonight.
You know, it's amazing. As he said it himself, with Pittsburgh Steelers, you were heard. Cowboys, you going to be seen, and you going to be critiqued. So, hey, homeboy, pick your game up all the time, not just some of the time.
Okay, so with that being said, when you talk about expectations tonight, how were those expectations going to change along the way for George Pickens?
It's not. It's not going to change for George Pickens. He came to the Dallas Cowboys through a trade because he was kind of disturbed and having problems with the Steelers. You came in for 12 weeks, lit this league up. Now you had one little so-so game. I don't even care. Great player. I think you're a great player. Just do your thing, but I'm here with Hollywood Henderson, too.
Okay, let's talk about that, because as we're talking about George Pickens, I told you there were going to be some big names joining the show. Hollywood Henderson sits down, the pride of Langston University and a former Pro Bowl linebacker for this Dallas Cowboys team, sitting down now. Hollywood, congratulations. They are honoring the Dirty Dozen today.
Hey,
what has this night
man.
been like for you guys?
It's been wonderful. Seeing the 12 guys that we, came in here in 75, and 12 of us made the team.
Wow.
Randy White, Randy Hughes, Percy Howard. And coming from Langston University as a #1 draft choice, I already knew I was a bad man. I did. Yeah. I knew that I was a bad man. But Landry kept me in my place. Special teams and not starting, because I didn't understand the flex. But when I did it, I did it well.
Yes, sir. Hollywood, did you run one back? I was pick six, about 90-something yards.
No, it was a reverse.
Reverse.
Oh,
yeah,
even better.
By Raleigh Woolsey.
Yeah, how far was it?
97 yards.
Wow.
And-
I got it 97 yards right.
Wait a minute. And I slammed it over the goalpost.
Yeah.
Ooh, they banned that now, you know.
Yeah.
He was the last one to
I'm
do
the
it.
reason.
Wow.
Let me ask you a question. In your opinion, is there a big difference in how the game is played now as opposed to when you were playing the game?
I think the principles of the game are the same.
Okay.
But that raw player, I don't see him that much anymore. Everybody's playing Cracker Jacks.
Yeah.
Everybody's playing within the rules. I'm the biggest rule breaker of the world. Give me a rule and I will break it.
I have to ask you, what is it that you see with this team this year, the Dallas Cowboys, that reminds you of some of the things that you might have been doing back in the day?
I don't watch them that much.
That's it.
I pay more attention to my sobriety.
Okay.
I've been sober 42 years.
That's awesome.
I haven't had a drink or a drug for 42. And it made the difference in my life.
Yeah.
And so to judge players, I don't want to do that.
Understood.
Right.
Understand.
Okay,
And
thank you.
that's incredible. 42
42.
years. We're here with Hollywood Henderson, of course, part of the Dirty Dozen. What has it meant to now get to catch up with a lot of those guys? And any stories that you can tell from even the reunion that you've gotten to take part in today?
Yeah, I regret starting a fight with Randy White. I regret it.
Yeah.
I
Did you
regret
win?
it. No.
Yeah, man. Wow. Now, I'm going to ask you something personal.
Okay.
Real personal. You just
Okay.
don't answer it. How does it feel to win the lottery twice?
It puts big money in your bank.
Hey,
Twice?
Yeah, I've one big one.
Oh, that's wild.
And life, life is a sober life is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My kids, my grandkids. I got a grandson at Southern Mississippi.
There you go.
His name is Carl Chester,
Right.
and he's a wide receiver, and he's 6'4", 207 pounds, and he is got NFL written all over him.
Wow.
Love to hear it.
I'm going to take a note.
Carl
and
Chester.
for our draft coverage coming up in the next couple of seasons, we're going to take a look at it. And Mr. Chester, we've got Thomas Hollywood Henderson joining us here on Cowboys Pregame Live. Hollywood, thanks so much for taking some time and sitting down with us. Always great to catch up
I got
with you.
rings.
Yeah, you do.
rings.
He does have those
I got
rings.
rings.
How cool are
Thank you,
those?
sir.
Thank you, Hollywood,
Thank
for
you.
taking some time.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
And there he goes. Of course, we're here from AT&T Stadium as the Dirty Dozen is honored today. Of course, it's the 50th anniversary of the Hail Mary as well as the Cowboys take on the Minnesota Vikings, the two teams that were a part of that game where Drew Pearson caught the Hail Mary from Roger Staubach. And we, of course, have another big name joining the list now. We've got Nick Eatman here on the sideline.
Whoa.
Hollywood Henderson, multiple lottery winner, got a Pro Bowler, got a couple things going on. And then we got Nick Eatman here from DallasCowboys.com.
Yes, indeed.
Wow.
I'm
The
sorry.
legend, the legend Nick.
Yeah. They don't call me Hollywood anymore or ever. Yeah.
The Dirty Dozen honored today. It's really a cool event that they're putting on for those 12 guys. Tell us a little bit about what you've learned. You've produced a documentary over it and gotten to do a lot of research and get to know a lot of those guys.
12 guys making the team from the one draft, that happens when you're bad. When you're a bad team and you have young players and they make the team. But for a team to go to the Super Bowl, that really was special, that not only did they have these young players that did a nice job, to make the team, but they were good and they had, they went to the Super Bowl.
That's big time. Well, Nick, I gotta get your thoughts on this. We talked about it a little bit earlier in segment one, but the game George Pickens played last week against Detroit, I mean, it wasn't what we've seen so far this season. In your opinion, how does he bounce back against his pivotal matchup against the Minnesota Vikings?
You throw a slant to him early in the game.
Early in the game.
Get him going. Yeah. And you guys know that. And get him going, get the confidence going. Isaiah, you quarterback, and you knew that. You played both, the receiver and quarterback, so you kind of know what the confidence is like. I don't know if he's lacking confidence, but kind of let him know and let the Vikings know You can blitz if you want to, but you better watch this guy, and then by the way, this guy, and so I just think get him comfortable.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, makes sense. Being around the squad, obviously, this last week, Nate, what is their mindset that you believe that they're going to have going into these next 4 weeks?
It's funny. They asked the question. The question was asked about, can this be a successful season if you don't make the playoffs? The CD had a really good answer. Dak was like, I'm not there. Yeah. If that happens, it happens. So I think the mindset is, let's go beat this team in purple. Let's go beat them, because that's all you can control, and you guys know that. But, it's easy to look and watch these games in the AFC versus the NFC and hope they win and all that. Nothing matters if they don't go and take care of business. So I think the focus has been that. But let's see, because I say it 1,000 times. You guys know it too. You can win, here, but you can lose on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. So let's see if they've done that and if they've prepared the right way.
The offensive line.
Looks good, right?
It does look good.
Hey, but dirty does it. Anyway, what does this offensive line have to do to, there's been injuries here, players in and out. Do you ever talk to the coaches about bonding, unity? Yeah. And what are your responses from that?
Yeah, shocked about the offensive line question from you, Nate. But no, you would know. I feel kind of awkward just talking to you about O-line and what is needed. But it's 5-1. And these guys bonded together, and I can't figure out who your best two tackles are. And sometimes I think it's Nate Thomas, and sometimes I think, well, no, when is Guyton coming back? I don't know if they know either, but I think that's kind of where it starts. It's just that the fact that Dak, he's not worried about it, but he is looking over his shoulder a little bit, and I think that the offensive tackles just haven't been as good as they wanted them to be.
I want to flip it to the defensive side here. Justin Jefferson not having his best season across the board. I mean, is there any reason for this Dallas defense to be scared outside of Justin Jefferson, though, going into this matchup?
I was just seeing if Aaron Jones has scored yet. He scores every single time he gets out here. Because even when you think, well, he's older, he's whatever, he can turn back the clock, and we've seen this defense is a good right defense for opposing offenses. It's just happened. I mean, we can sit there and say, well, all they have is Marvin Harrison and Jacoby Brissett, and it didn't look good. So I think once you start playing that game, and Justin Jefferson is so good that he makes those other guys around him better. So, Addison and Hawkinson and those guys like that. So I'm not going to be naive and be like, no, it's just him only. No, they got to watch all of them, because Jefferson can create that kind of mismatch.
And even with those numbers being lower than they have at any other point in his career, that's also a byproduct. He's still leading the team in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns. That's a byproduct of how good he's been into this 2025 season. Now on the Cowboys' offensive side of things as well, I mean, what is holding this offense back from being as elite as they could possibly be?
Barry, can you earmuff it for me real quick?
I got you.
It's the defense.
It's the defense.
The defense is holding back the offense from being, and I think they are elite, but you're asking them to be perfect, absolutely perfect every single time. They've lost 2 games this year when they scored 27 or more. That shouldn't happen. I think that and the offense, I mean, yes, there's times they have penalties in the red zone and things like that. They're not perfect, but they're good enough to be a playoff-type team if they had a little bit more help on defense. We thought we were seeing it, and maybe we're there. The Lions are good, and they're good at home. So we'll see if they can bounce back tonight, but, and win 4 out of 5 since that trade.
Got a lot of things going on here as we continue our Cowboys pregame live coverage. Nick, thanks so much for taking some time. I know the tie is really nice. Hopefully that's the only tie we're going to see tonight from an NFC North team. Nick, thanks so much.
All right, thank you.
There he goes. Nick Eatman here of DallasCowboys.com. You can check out his work on the Cowboys Now app later in the day. Let's talk about the turnovers here. Brian Schottenheimer talked about how those are plaguing the offensive side and how they need to be better moving forward, taking care of the football.
The one thing that I do think, this is a great thing, not a bad thing, but we've got a ton of room for improvement as well as we're playing, but we have to get better with the football. I mean, we're -5. We're 25th in the league. That sucks. And it's like, we got to fix that. And for us to go where we want to go, we got to take care of the football, and we got to take it away. And I really do think this game's going to come down to that. I think this game, because you got 2 physical teams that play the right style, and whichever team, protects the football better, I think is going to win the game.
So turnovers continuing to be an issue for this Cowboys team. It hasn't plagued them enough post-bye, but we saw it pre-bye week play a huge factor. How do you take care of the football in a different manner going into this matchup tonight?
It's just football, man. There's nothing that you wouldn't necessarily put your finger on and say, if we do this and then all the turnovers go away. It's just a matter of taking care of the principles and the fundamentals of the game of football. Run the ball, protect it, hold it across your chest, 5 points of pressure. Make sure that Dak's not forcing the ball in any bad situations. Give him the protection that he needs so that he's not throwing errant throws under pressure. It's all basic stuff. It just happens as B. Sometimes it just kind of comes in bunches.
Yeah, without a doubt. As a defender, I understand where turnovers come in bunches. I used to love, when somebody gets one, here goes 3 more. But I'm not worried about, the interception. I think Dak Prescott has done a good job protecting the football so far this season. But what I've seen from this offense is guys, they're fighting for those extra yards. And it's hard because you want your guys to go out there and make sure they give 100% max effort. But when you see guys, especially like last week, they're reaching for the goal line, reaching for that first down marker, and it gets punched out. So like Isaiah said, you got to make sure you secure it. Even if you're fighting for those extra yards and there's guys all around you, making sure you secure those points of the football and take it all the way to the ground. Because defenders nowadays, they're extremely smart, and they're all looking to do that peanut punch and get that ball out of there. But you got to secure it because this team is not good enough to overcome turnovers.
Just understand the situations you're in. Sometimes you have to stretch the ball out there, but the majority of the time, you catch the ball or you get the ball handed off to you, you run, you cover it up, you get what you can get, and you go down and you live to play another day.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing to punt.
There was a play in that Detroit Lions game where Jake Ferguson was trying to fight for a third down and long.
Yeah.
I love the effort. I love the grit.
12 yards away from the first
down. But you're 12
down.
yards away. You got to have a little bit of wherewithal to know to go to the ground, and then the fumble happened, and immediately Detroit scored a couple plays later on the David Montgomery touchdown. Let's hear from the media mashup. We've got a couple of different opportunities to hear from your favorite podcasts on DallasCowboys.com. Hanging with the boys in Players Lounge early in the week.
Jesse, is there anybody else besides Justin Jefferson that might be open 24/7?
Yes.
Who?
Number 33. You better take care. He's got some of the same, not the speed, but he got some of the same burst that this last dude had for Detroit.
The running back,
Aaron Jones Sr.
And let me also tell you, Aaron Jones, Texas native.
Yes.
Family, he and his family, huge Cowboy fans.
Oh, really?
They will be at this game. Like, even when Aaron Jones, I believe he was with Green Bay.
Yeah.
They used to come. He's from some East or West Texas or something like that, some small town. They grew up Cowboy fans. So he when he plays the Cowboys, he's always trying to bring a little extra because he grew up a Cowboys fan. His family, huge Cowboy fans.
He always be over 100 yards.
Yeah, he
always against us.
Aaron Jones is, that's the one that wear the sombrero, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he always wearing the sombrero.
370 rushing yards in 3 games.
Yeah.
So the Diggs now, it's not the top 3 corner on this team.
Healthy? Yes. Not healthy? No.
Regardless if he was not 100% healthy or whatever it was, his play was not that much better than anybody else's play that we've seen thus far. Now,
but I will say this, those guys that we're talking about, the young guys that have gone in while Diggs has been out, had the fortune of playing behind a much better defensive line than what Diggs has seen in the first couple weeks of the season. Like that, and we both know we play in the secondary. That's huge. When you got a good pass rush and somebody that can get the quarterback off the spot. Now, these young guys, they're playing well. Like they're coming along, but in my opinion, their play has not been that much significantly better than what Diggs can provide.
Is the talent or technique? So was Diggs' technique up to par?
No, he was. Yeah, his technique was bad. His technique was bad.
But what do the coaches always say? When your talent level, you're going to take a little bit more of this. When the other stuff starts to outweigh this and that, like, what are we going to do? We're not going to put you out there. And I'm not necessarily saying headaches on or off the field, but like.
Intended.
Cowboys.
You hear Barry Church there talking about the secondary for this Cowboys team getting ready to take on the Vikings. Of course, on a night where the Dirty Dozen being honored, the draft class of 1975. And we have a member of that draft class, Super Bowl champion offensive tackle Pat Donovan, joining us here on Pregame Live. Pat, thanks so much for taking some time. This is a really cool night and love getting the chance to catch up with you. We've already talked to Hollywood Henderson should get a Randy White appearance maybe at some point. But tell us about what this night means to you.
Well, it's mostly about seeing the guys. I mean, you get a lot of recognition and people that want to give you an attaboy, a pat on the back, but you just never get to see these guys all in one place. It's been 50 years since we were rookies together. Which, yeah, I don't believe it either. Yeah, we get somebody to check that.
50 years, but that's what the legacy of that draft class has become for all 12 of those guys, and getting the chance. You made a face there when I said we've already talked to Hollywood. What did that mean? What are we talking about there?
Hollywood and I are dear friends, and my wife was saying, well, how do we get on TV? And I said, well, we got to go stand next to Roger. I mean,
to Randy.
Go next to Randy or Hollywood, and it'll be one of them will be on the camera.
Well, glad we got you on there. I like that. I'm happy to have it there.
A quick question. Did y'all do 2-a-days, 3-a-days as rookies? How many days in the summertime going into training camp? How many days did y'all practice?
So when I was a rookie,
how many times
a rookie, they had 103 rookies, and we were there on July 5th for 3 weeks, and then the vets came in, and we had 2 more weeks.
Oh, crap.
And every week was 2-a-days for 6 days, and Sunday off.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Did you go through any of that, Barry?
No. Not even close.
The question is, would you? You're too smart.
Yeah, true. Had some good representatives in the NFLPA at that point in time.
Yeah, thanks.
Now, I do have to ask, there are a lot of youth out there that are infatuated with the number that you wear on your chest now.
I don't know why.
I don't know why either. The 6'7" craze has become world renowned. Even
awesome.
Google, if you type it into Google, it's doing that all the way through. Have you heard that from any of your family members and your loved ones that are a little younger?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Wow.
That's awesome. Well, man,
incredible.
What are some of the things that you love about the game nowadays? I know the game was played a little bit different back in your time. What is it that you still love to see when you watch these guys play?
I like to see the money because we're always trying to chum up with the guys.
Yeah,
right.
But I think the survivability now is so much better. I mean, I hate to say, look at this group that I'm with. Don't film any action shots with us because nobody's really very. It was just really, really hard on people.
That's tough.
Yeah, and I think it's great. I mean, it's a great game, and they had to do something. And guys who are, CTE and all that stuff. It's an unfortunate thing that I think y'all have kind of avoided.
Yeah. Now I'm glad
that's right. You hadn't said anything.
What did you say?
Isaiah, I'm glad you brought that up because there is a tradition from back when, of course, the 50 years ago where you guys were rookies. The Landry shift is still a thing at the end of the game.
Yeah.
How cool is that to see? And can you take us back to 1975 when the Landry shift was just in its early heyday?
And how long did you go in the game before you stopped shifting up and down?
Oh, no, we shifted up and down the whole time.
I know.
It was a big, that was a big deal. Yeah.
But I remember when y'all played, when the game first started, it was one way.
Right.
But then you start seeing one guy up, another guy.
Oh, yeah, one guy, a little bump. Okay. But, no, that was a big deal because we were one of the only teams that really had a lot of motion and shifting.
Yeah.
And so they had the backs moving, and we were standing up. And I had guys tell me, from other teams say, you're also tall. We were all about 6'4", 6'5", and they said, God, I just hate playing against you guys. Because you can't see what's going on.
Yeah, can't see the backs back there.
No.
And it's still cool to see that as an ode to Coach Landry, an ode to the past, and to what you guys laid as a foundation for what the franchise has become nowadays with AT&T Stadium and everything along with it.
Probably the more amazing thing was 75, my rookie year. That was the year he put the shotgun back in the game.
Yeah.
And for 2 years, nobody ran a play out of the shotgun. And then, what do you think now? 70%?
Yeah, probably more.
Yeah. And I mean, everybody was like, "Oh, this is the stupidest formation I've ever seen." But because of the way Roger was, and Roger could explain all the ideas they had about why they were going to do that. But that's hard to imagine.
Really, really cool stuff. Pat Donovan joining us here part of the Dirty Dozen celebration here on this Week 15 matchup between the Cowboys and the Vikings. Pat, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for being a good sport and playing along with the 6'7", you know. We had to ask about it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. I had no idea. Thank you, Pat. Appreciate you taking some time.
Thank you very much.
All right, we've got some other conversations to be had about this Cowboys passing game. How about Dak Prescott and what he's done so far this season, leading the NFL entering Week 15? Of course, a lot of these other quarterbacks have already played their game, but Dak almost more than a 200-yard lead on Drake May entering the weekend. This passing attack has been fantastic, and they've consistently had high numbers. Do you feel like Dak has what it takes to handle this Brian Flores blitz-heavy defensive scheme that he's going to see tonight?
Yeah, of course. Dak's seen everything in this league. I believe that the foundation of the scheme is something that he used to see in practice all last year when you had Coach, Jesus, I just blanked out, D coordinator, Zimmer. Coach Zimmer, the double A gap linebackers lined up right next to your center, right between your guard and your center. Those guys having to make those calls, trying to identify which linebacker is going to blitz. Your hot routes on the outside, trying to get the ball out of your hands quickly, having pressure in your face, being able to stand tall in the pocket. These are all things that he's accustomed to, and all things that he's going to have to adapt to tonight. Have to lean back and go back into his Rolodex on how to handle it. But I think he's fully capable of doing so.
Yeah, without a doubt, Dak Prescott is one of the smartest quarterbacks I've ever been around, and teams have tried to heat. Seems, especially this season, that he has the answers. Whenever teams try to disguise things in the back end and try to bring pressure from the nickel spot or a different type of safety pressure, he has those answers. So I don't see this afternoon, but also what helps is when you have guys on the outside that can win fast and one-on-one matchups, and that's exactly what they have in CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens.
If you want Dak to win 80% of the times and have a high completed center, our offensive line has to at least get something on the down linemen or the linebackers that are blitzing. But you, as an offensive line, are 80% of your quarterback success when people are trying to heat you up. And that means you have to be on the correct person, or at least giving a great effort, or at least a bump, like a safety like Barrett. I just put a hand on him, and it would change the whole thing, yeah.
It certainly is on the offensive line. You need them to take a step forward, and especially with the blitz, they're going to have the communication in a loud building like this. We have Stephen Jones, Cowboys CEO, joining us here.
Great being on, gentlemen.
Absolutely. Always good to have you. And we're talking about Dak Prescott, who throughout his career has been one of the best against the blitz at the quarterback position. How much do you anticipate him being tested by Brian Flores in this Vikings defense
I think
tonight?
As much as he's probably ever been tested. I mean, you got to give Coach Flores credit. He really knows how to dial up the different pressures, really gets prepared in terms of what he's doing. So, I expect it to be a challenge, but our guys are ready for it. They know they're going to see a lot of different things, and obviously the best way to combat that is run the damn football. And that's what we need to do.
He's been on here 4 times,
there you go.
and it's finally sinking in. Let the juggernaut 33 loose.
That's awesome. Now, Steve, so honestly, we know from the player side of things what our mindset is right inside the locker room in a situation like you guys find yourself in right now. But from the leadership perspective, from the organizational side of things, what's your guys' mindset as you guys approach these last 4 games?
Win every game, we're in this thing. I mean, there's no doubt we've got to start by winning tonight. We know we've dug ourselves a hole. We know we can't lose. But we also know we can win every game, and it all starts right here. We can't look ahead to the future. We can't control what other people are doing. But we really feel like if we take care of our business, then good things will happen to us.
Yep, there you go.
So defensively for the Dallas Cowboys tonight, who is that player, maybe outside of Justin Jefferson, or you can include Justin Jefferson, that they have to neutralize in order to stop this Minnesota offense?
Yeah, I think the other thing is we got to stop the run. Yep. I mean, they're going to want to run the football. They got a young quarterback. That comes with that in terms of, wanting to get there and set the tone early and stopping that run, and then make them put the ball in his hands and beat us. That's going to be our goal tonight, is to get in there. We know we're going to get a heavy dose of the run, and we got to get in there and stop it. We think we've got the right guys to do it. Wouldn't surprise me to see a lot of these 5-man fronts we've run since we've gotten Q in the mix. Yep. And, I think that can be a really important thing for us, is to get in there. If we can stop that run, I think good things will happen to our defense.
I have 2 questions. The first one is, What are y'all going to do with Jefferson? I mean, is y'all going to play a lot of zone? Y'all going to press man, come up off of him? I mean, I know that's an X's and O's question. In the next place, where do you get your coach from?
We'll share that afterwards.
Wait, which answer?
No, on Jefferson, obviously, he's elite. He's one of the best in the business. We've got to do, we've got to go after him in a lot of different ways. We've obviously visited about that, at the end of the week, kind of what we strategize to slow him down. And you can't just go at him one way or he's going to figure it out. And so the best way to do is throw a lot of different looks at him. Obviously, one guy's probably not getting him many times. It's going to be multiple guys. And, we feel good about our plan for him. But, obviously he's special. He's elite. He's one of the best in the business.
Now, of course, this is a big week for AT&T Stadium. You get the home game today. Then you turn around, you play at home next Sunday. But in between that, and I know you have a passion for this, the Texas High School State Championships are in town. What is that? What does that mean to you, and how excited are you for this year's event?
Well, I'm always so pumped whenever we get these young men in here. I mean, it's part of the food chain as they come up. And there's been so many great players play in this stadium, playing state high school championships that have gone on to be great players in the NFL. Of course, my favorite never went on to play in the NFL. That'd be my son, who actually had a great high school career, but he loved football, and he cherishes those moments. And I can tell you who cherishes it more would be his grandfather, my dad, and myself. So, but no, it's a special place in our heart to have these young men out here at AT&T Stadium.
Guys, I started my media journey sideline reporting for the not once but two-time state champion Highland Park Scots.
There we go.
Quarterback John Stephen Jones.
Absolutely.
So I was there for all that. I saw the emotion. He's not kidding. I mean, there was a lot of that, but it's going to be an emotional week, a fun week. We look forward to seeing you again down the line. Stephen, thanks for taking some time and joining us today.
Hey, great being on, guys, and you're not talking, Nate.
Yeah, I mean, my wardrobe getting a little shabby.
Stephen Jones, Cowboys COO, joining us today. The Cowboys defense, like Stephen just said, getting ready for a challenge of Aaron Jones and this Vikings offense. You saw Quinnen Williams there. Here's DeMarvion Overshown as he's back in the building. Excited to see Agent Zero back in action. And then how about Jadeveon Clowney? They needed Clowney to step up in a couple of ways.
Oh, yeah.
He stepped up big. Without him in the fold, they need him to be back in the fold and be effective in this one. Let's talk about the defensive game plan for Dallas. How does Dallas handle those Minnesota weapons? Nate, you just asked about it. You got to find a way to slow them down because it's not just Justin Jefferson.
No, I'm saying the kid, running back Aaron Jones. This kid busted it up every time we've seen us for 120-plus yards running. He can catch out of the backfield. You can bet this is a copycat league that we'll see a little bit of what we saw against Jahmyr Gibbs. They're going to throw to this kid coming out of the backfield. And that is what I like about Clowney coming back. He can set the edge. He can make some things happen. So now you can let them linebackers, tend to their business with Aaron Clark.
Yeah, I'm with you on that on making sure you shut down the run. But also what this defense needs to do is, one, they got to get hands on Justin Jefferson. This cannot be routes on air or 7-on-7 where guys ain't really touching anybody. You've got to get hands on this guy. If you let him get a free release, he's one of the best wide receivers in the National Football League. And you can't make the game easier for him. So you got to get hands on him. You got to throw off that timing between him and J.J. McCarthy. Also, what they have to do defensively is they got to disguise against this guy. This is a young quarterback. I'm talking about J.J. McCarthy, who hasn't seen the type of defenses that a Dak Prescott has seen. You've got to disguise against this guy and make sure he doesn't have the answer to the test before the snap is made. Once that snap is made, then he has to decipher what defense you're in. You can talk this guy into throwing turnovers. So you got to disguise, you got to get hands on Jefferson, and you got to stop the run as well.
All those things are true. I'm not going to disagree with these guys, but the two elements that I think that has to happen today, Dallas has to be great tacklers.
Yeah.
They have to be great tacklers. You can't allow these guys to get any more yards after catch or yards after contact. You got to get these guys to the ground, and then the coincides with that, you need physicality. This defense has not been the most physical defense that we've seen in years past. These guys need to come up, hit, get guys to the ground, and enforce your physical will upon your opponents and let them know it's going to be one heck of a long night.
They were out-physicaled in that game against Detroit, and it felt like a step back for the Cowboys defense. Let's hear from defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus on whether that was the case for Dallas or it's something they can solve moving forward.
You got to respond to adversity or sudden changes, so that game was a certain situation where you had some short fields, where you had some things where you're on the other side, and they just happen, right? And we have to do a better job, of stopping them in the third down in the red zone when that happens and make them kick field goals. And you'd probably see a different result. So, yes, we do have to play better, and we do have to do better in those areas for sure. With the players, I talked to them about, hey, the last 4 games, in the run defense, we're third, in the league in the last 4 games. In third down, we're 10th, in terms of that. There's been improvement. You have seen the improvement. Sometimes, you take a step back, right? And then you got to reset. But, again, 3-1 in 4 games is pretty good. It's not the best. We wanted to be 4-0, but we got to now move that forward and go to the last quarter of the season. It's important that we keep getting better, keep improving, and we had some improvements in the last quarter. So we got to do a great job with this quarter of the season.
The Cowboys defense in need of a bounce-back performance. Dak Prescott getting stretched out and ready to go for this matchup with the Minnesota Vikings, and Dak, of course, having quite the opportunity to see a couple guys step up on the offensive side of the ball. Ryan Flanoy, one of those guys, George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, everybody taking steps in the right direction. And Isaiah, when you look at Ryan Flanoy and what he's added to this team, how much has he taken a step forward?
A huge step forward. You talk about somebody stepping up and being there for his team when they need another resource. He is that guy. And the 2 things that he's really contributed to this offense is consistency. And because he's been consistent, he's been dependable. And those are the 2 things that a quarterback would absolutely love to have by his receivers. He has it from George Pickens. He has it from CeeDee Lamb. And now he has it from a third additional guy in Ryan Flanoy.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's one thing to just, be a guy out there and just going through the motions, but when his number is called, he's been able to step up and make plays out there. Now, it helps when you have a George Pickens on one side and a CeeDee Lamb on the other side. You're going to get a lot of one-on-one opportunities. But it goes, it's to him to go out there and take advantage of those one-on-one opportunities, and that's what he's been able to do all season long. This is another gem that the Dallas Cowboys have found. And look, when it comes to me, if you want to be that third wide receiver and your number's called, you got to make the play, and he's been able to do that so far this season.
He's number 19. That's all he was for a while. Yeah. Now he's flooring now. We know his name. He's our third receiver. He has made it where he's not that guy like Jalen Tobert. We're going to have Mango. He is that third receiver now. He's proven himself. He's more than just number 19. He's flooring on.
And that's a great point. I think that's phenomenal because you take a look at Cowboys fans out there, and right before the season started, it was always Jalen Tolbert in the conversation. Yeah. It was George Pickens. What is he going to do? Jake Ferguson. Now it is a third name, and he's solidified himself into that thought process. Now, on the run game standpoint, Javonte Williams has already hit 1,000 yards. He's the 4th consecutive Cowboys running back and 4th different Cowboys running back that has hit 1,000 yards in each of those seasons, and he does it after not hitting 1,000 yards with the Denver Broncos. It's great to see the amount of impact that he's seen there, but Nate, when it comes to Javonte Williams, you still feel like there's some left on the table.
I want him, when I ask about him on Mondays, or if I ask about him on Fridays after games, I want to say, hey, he's in the ice tub. I want him literally beat up and tore up because I want him to tote the ball 30 times because if you're going to keep Dak upright and help this offensive line, we have to have a serious run game, and this is your guy.
Yeah, and he's had a stellar season so far. And one thing when I think about Javonte Williams, it's just consistency. I mean, this is a guy that down in, down out, you know what you're going to get. He may not have that home run threat ability where as soon as he touches the rock, he's going to shoot out for 80 yards. He may not have that. But over 4 quarters, you're going to get a guy that's going to wear down a defense. It might be 3 yards in a cloud of dust, but by the time that 4th quarter comes around, defenders do not want to tackle this man. I've seen it with my own eyes. So he's going to continue to wear down defenses out there. And the one word that can describe this man, in my opinion, is consistency. He's been that consistent back pretty much all season long.
You know one word I have for him?
What's that, dog?
More. We need more Javonte.
You're like Kylo Ren in Star Wars.
Absolutely.
You want more.
I need more Javonte. Listen, this dude is productive. And when you have a back that's as productive as that, you don't want to just hear about his stat line. You want to see the result of what he's doing. Whether that be him getting 50 yards a game or whether it's him getting 150 a game. I don't really care. They just need to utilize him to impact this entire offense. I feel like the first half of the season, he was the guy that really stabilized his offense. He was the crutch for Dak Prescott. We've said in years past that Jake Ferguson's been that guy. This year was Javonte Williams. Over the last 3, 4, 5 weeks, they've kind of went away from the run. They haven't committed as much to it. And because of that, you've seen the lack of productivity offensively. They have to get back to giving him the ball and allow this offensive line to get control, enforce their will, and settle the tides so that Dak can then throw. You don't want Dak throwing 40-plus times a game.
So we're all in agreement here that more Javonte Williams is not a bad thing, right?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, then what could be the possibility on the coaching side? Let's get in their shoes for a little bit here.
Okay.
Why has there not been more Javonte Williams? What could be the reason for it?
I think you're playing musical chairs with your offensive line. Okay. I think that's a big portion of it. That's something that you can't overlook. Oftentimes, whether you're an analyst or whether you're a couch analyst at the house, you're sitting here talking about, hey, well, these guys are moving around, and hey, guess what? Dak has to be able to throw the ball. We have these weapons on the outside. But oftentimes you forget that the core of most offenses is the run game. You have to get him in the run game, and they have to be comfortable with the offensive line and their chemistry. I know Big Nate Dogg can speak to that. Yeah. Those 5 guys need to be in continuity, and if they're not, and they don't have that chemistry, it affects the running game as well.
But the best way to do it is to give him the ball. Be a little bit more creative. Put some lambs in there with your tight end and the H-back. We talked about this last week. Yep. You got to be a little bit more diverse with your running game, but you got to have the running game because everything leads to Dak being successful off a play-action pass. If you don't run the ball, even when you're down 14, as long as you got at least 10 minutes in the game, you can still use your run game.
Without a doubt. And I know we're talking about the run game, but I wouldn't mind seeing him sprinkle a little bit into the pass game because as a defender, when you see 33 in the ball game, all you're thinking is, oh, this is a run. This is a run. So you stacking the box, you coming downhill, you know
be a blocker.
Yeah, because he's going to be a blocker. So to me, I wouldn't mind them putting a little wrinkle in there, maybe a screen here and there, just to keep the defense on his heels a little bit.
I like it. A little mix and match.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Different ways to get him involved. It's important that they do establish the ground game, especially against a defense like this, because what does the ground game do? Gives you play action. And how do you combat the blitz? Play action. Right?
Yeah,
There's a couple different elements there as the Cowboys trying to establish a run with Javonte Williams. One of the other things the Cowboys have been up to is serving in the community. Of course, around this holiday season, Cowboys do a whole lot of visits and Thanksgiving meals. How about this? This is one of the coolest ones. The Cowboys took time this week in the mini-bye to go visit children's hospitals in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Nicole Hutchison has more.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.
The holiday season means a little bit more in Dallas.
Hi, Jack! What's up, Case? Hi! What's up? Give me a hug. There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
Every year, the Cowboys trade the field for hospital hallways.
Can I get a high five?
Spreading joy where it's needed most.
You're in a situation where everything's not perfect, the situation's not perfect. You see how people react, man. These kids, each and every time I get a chance to do this, they react with a positive mindset, and it just gives you a blessing. So it's super amazing to be around a great group of people.
Charlotte Jones, the team, along with DCC, continued a 36-year tradition, splitting into groups across 4 North Texas hospitals.
Getting close to Christmas, just want to get back and, show joyful spirits.
Ooh, do you want that?
Ooh.
What do you say?
Thank you. It just makes me feel like a great person, just brightening their day.
Delivered stockings loaded with goodies and making stops into rooms, uplifting patients, fighting battles far bigger than the game.
This is very important. One of my favorite moments of the day, and especially moments that we get to be in the community, of just coming here today at the Children's Hospital here down in Dallas, just able to put some smiles on some faces, cheer up some patients, their family, just provide a little bit of hope during this holiday season.
Today wasn't about rankings or records. It was about presence, reminding kids that strength shows up in many forms, and sometimes the loudest cheer happens in the quietest rooms.
The kids bring us so much joy, and then we get to come in and meet so many amazing families. It's just the most magical time.
It's just amazing to see how happy we can make somebody.
And it's special for me to come in here and just be able to provide a little bit of light, to their holiday season.
I got news about him getting worse this morning, so I just started driving up here, and halfway here she called me and told me they was coming. I was like, oh, I'm almost there.
And for every autograph, every laugh, the Cowboys left with something too.
I'm so thankful that I have an impact that can cheer up their day, but it means a lot for me to be able to share this time with them.
Perspective, gratitude, and a reminder that some victories never show up on the scoreboard.
A lot of these kids don't want to be here, so just being able to come in and put a smile on their face and just bringing that joy even for a day is super important.
To see kids the same age of my kids just reminds you of how unfair life is, and just to be thankful for the cards you're dealt and just playing them the best we can.
For the Dallas Cowboys, I'm Nicole Hutchison.
Go Cowboys!
Hello.
Perfect.
Thank you very much, Nicole. And, of course, the Minnesota Vikings in one of the toughest divisions in the NFL right now. Currently, the fourth team out of a tough division. All three teams above them with more than 8 wins. Of course, the Chicago Bears secured their 10th win of the season. Packers, you saw Micah Parsons earlier go down with an injury. From us on Cowboys Pregame Live, we wish him the best. I hope he's still able to play as the season goes on, because it was a non-contact injury, did not look good, but I do wish the best for Micah Parsons. Let's talk a little bit about the Minnesota Vikings. Brian Schottenheimer earlier in the week had some words about Kevin O'Connell, good friend of his, good buddy, and you could tell about that relationship earlier this week.
What do you remember about your time with Kevin O'Connell in New York, and did you see then that he could be a head coach one day?
Him coming out of San Diego State, remember him going to New England. I remember, bringing him over as a free agent. But I really remember him, we were in a division against the Patriots, and we would go back and forth. But Kevin had been in New England with Tom and knew a lot of Tom's answers and blitzes, and he would get with Rex and the defensive staff every time we'd play the Patriots, and basically he'd become a defensive coach that week.
So high praise from Brian Schottenheimer about Kevin O'Connell. And then coming into the stadium today, Brian Schottenheimer stopped a young fan that was on a tour of AT&T Stadium with a Justin Jefferson jersey on. And he said, "Really? A Justin Jefferson jersey in this building? What are we doing here?" As he gave a little flack to the fan, of course, of the Minnesota Vikings. Back alongside Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, and Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans. This is a Minnesota team that has had a revolving door at quarterback, but they have a lot of talent outside of that position right now. What direction could you say they're heading right now? Are they trending in the right direction, or are they still pitter-pattering? Maybe not for 2025. You could probably take this season out of the fold. But what about the future for the Vikings?
I think right now they're kind of Lupe Fiasco with a kick push on a skateboard.
Wow.
Trying to get their groove right now because they have a very talented team. Earlier in the week, I made a statement about how I believe this is the third most talented team that the Dallas Cowboys have faced all season long. And people will look at me, look at their record and say, "Oh, you're absolutely crazy." But I say, okay, well, take their quarterback, swap him out with somebody who's productive, and what do you have? Yep. You have a backfield that's stacked with 2 solid running backs. You have a solid offensive line. You have a solid trio of receivers. The defense is absolutely amazing. The defensive coordinator is amazing. Your offensive coordinator is amazing. Where's the weak point right now? Yep. The weak point is their actual quarterback. So if these guys decide to have a good day with J.J. McCarthy, then you're in a world of trouble, because these guys, we saw what they did last year. They're a very capable team.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, to me, when I look at the Vikings, I believe they're trending in a downward angle. I'll put it like that. Because like you just said, Isaiah, they're loaded everywhere else. Yep. Receiver, the defense is loaded. They got a great backfield, good tight end. But this is a quarterback league, a quarterback-driven league. And if you don't have the guy back there that can get the most out of your offense, you're always going to be on a roller coaster ride. You might get some wins here and there, but you'll never have consistency. So until they get that guy at the quarterback position right, I believe this Minnesota team will just continue to be that up-and-down team. They can scare you at time to time, but the consistency will not be there.
I agree with you. I agree with you guys, but you know what? Maybe last week's game was a stabilizing force for him to have some success, and so maybe they just trending right now. And it's up to us to keep them going down. Yeah. The Dallas Cowboys, I mean, it's up to them to keep them going down. But if this kid come in and just have a little bit of success, because he has a potent offense just waiting to explode, and they got a hell of a defensive coordinator with right players up front. So we have to make sure that he continues to trend down.
Of course, coming off of a 31-0 win over a struggling Washington Commanders team, but still, like you said, you got to keep that right mentality yourself, or else this team, with the talent they do possess, is going to give you a tough day. Talk about some of those talented players. Give me a player to watch. Nate, I'll start with you.
It's Andrew
Van Ginkel.
Van Ginkel.
There we go.
Number 43, he lines up everywhere as a linebacker. In the middle, on the outside, he is a handful to handle. And don't forget about Jonathan Allen. They stole him from the Washington Commanders. So there's 2 players you better watch out for.
I am going to rock with the linebacker. His name is Eric Wilson, number 55. And we are sitting here on the sideline pregame, and we see this Decepticon walk out sleeves. His calves are the size of Barry's hamstrings. This dude is not only a physical specimen, but he is somebody that's going to line up right next to Cooper Beebe and going to cause a lot of havoc. So they better identify where he's at because he can wreck your game.
Yeah, and I'm going to go with the guy we kind of just talked about a little bit ago, and that's J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm saying you got to watch him is because I believe this defense can take advantage of it. All right, you can go out there, you can have this guy, and you can talk this guy into turning the football over. I believe if they get after J.J. McCarthy out there, that could be the catalyst for them to win this ball game. So watch out for J.J. McCarthy and the turnovers. He's getting ready to throw because I believe the Cowboys are going to walk away with at least 2.
The only quarterback in the league that has played at least 10 games and has had more interceptions than touchdown passes. 10 picks, 9 touchdown passes. J.J. McCarthy has not had a ton of success this year. And it gets worse as you throw the ball down the field. That's the number one thing for J.J. McCarthy. If he's underneath those intermediate routes, those short routes, he's usually pretty good. And last week against Washington, that was a key. They threw the ball short, and he had success, especially over the middle of the field. But look at that zone, according to NFL Next Gen Stats, beyond the 10-yard, 20-yard mark. It hasn't been clean for McCarthy.
No, it hasn't, and I hope that our defensive coordinator takes note of this because what we've done is play a lot of soft zone for the foundation of our team. We've been pretty much 80% zone coverage. So I'm hoping that he takes away that opportunity for J.J. McCarthy to throw the ball underneath and forces him to hold on to the ball a little bit. That'll give our defensive line some more time, and it will make things tougher on him because he is not the most accurate quarterback.
You know who's frustrated about all this, all those stats we just put out there? Justin Jefferson.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, this is a guy that's like, man, you know what? Just get the ball in my hands, and I can do damage. Isaiah, you played the position at wide receiver. How frustrating is it when you know you have the talent out there, you know you have the ability, but the guy throwing the football, he just can't get the job done.
Listen, I played with some of the greatest quarterbacks that ever played this game, so I can't really speak to that frustration, but I can imagine these guys are running they're running probably, as many routes as he throws, right? Say he throws the ball 40 times a game. These guys are running that many routes. That's a lot of conditioning, a lot of work at the line of scrimmage, and when you actually get open for the ball to not be put on the money, you do your job and he doesn't do yours. That's the one thing about receiver. You can only do what your quarterback allows for you to do, and that's the frustrating part when your quarterback's not on the money.
I'm just going to take a slightly different angle, and I know this is normally not me, but I'm watching film of the Cowboys in their secondary. I'm watching y'all didn't get home a lot last week.
Yeah.
So, so Justin Jefferson saying, put it in the vicinity. 214, 907, whatever. in Arlington. Come on now. So this going to be a chess match. So whoever execute the best,
it's going to play a big factor, no doubt about it. And Isaiah, you and I helped break this matchup down earlier this week on Talking Cowboys. Let's take a listen to what the genius of Isaiah Stanback was at 9 a.m. Monday through Friday.
What have they not figured out, though? What is it about
his
timing?
McCarthy? His timing is trash. His ball location is trash. His, velocity is nowhere near. I saw it in college. I don't know what everybody was talking about coming into the league, but his velocity is not good at all.
And they're trying to take a step up in that regard because last week he had a career high or a career low in terms of time to throw. They're trying to get the ball out of his hands quick. Yeah. So that way he makes, even if he does make a mistake, it's a lesser of a mistake. It's not the downfield interceptions where he's
when you're lacking in velocity.
Into tight windows.
You're giving me a segue.
And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to take the ability to make mistakes out of McCarthy, J.J. McCarthy's hands.
Yeah. Per Next Gen Stats, 3 things jump out that support this point as far as Mike McCarthy. The longer he has back there to make the throw, the more likely he's going to mess this up. Right? It's great. It was wild because typically it should be the other way around. You want to speed his clock up, but actually you want to slow his clock down because he's going to make a mistake. He has an inverse relationship. He really just does. So per Next Gen Stats, J.J. McCarthy has completed just 72% of his passes to open targets, and open target as defined by a receiver who has 3 or more yards of separation.
Oh, brother!
Hit me, hit me with the sound.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
He is only hitting them less than 3/4 of the time. Okay. Defenses are opting to not blitz J.J. McCarthy this season, and they're allowing him to, and they're dropping back with 7 or more defenders in coverage. When they do that, J.J. McCarthy has the lowest completion rate in the entire NFL at 56%.
So what you're saying is we need a one-man rush and
56%, and the second fewest yards per attempt at 5.5 yards. This is the most upside down. Shouts out to Stranger Things. This is the most upside down thing I've seen in football in a long time.
Of course, you can catch Isaiah and I on Talking Cowboys every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. You can catch those guys on other podcasts down the way. Back with Isaiah Standback, Barry
Player Haters Club over here.
I'm Kyle Yeomans. We got to wrap things up pretty quickly here, but how does Dallas get off to a strong start, which is something they haven't done each of their 6 wins? They've trailed, Nate. How do they get off to a strong one tonight?
Be confident in what you're doing and be excited about what you're doing. And, Coach, call the plays that you know they can execute and get a fast start.
Yeah, without a doubt. You got to win on first and second down. Make those third down manageable. It opens up the entire playbook. That'll help. And penalties. Make sure you get rid of those penalties. Nothing's worse than a drive killer.
Man, don't play safe. Like be excited, like Nate said. Be aggressive. Attack on offense and definitely attack on defense.
I like that. Get after it. Maybe force a couple early turnovers. That's going to help your team more than anything. Give me a bold prediction, Isaiah, going into this Week 15 matchup.
Ooh, bold prediction. I think the Dallas Cowboys go out here and win this ball game. I call it 34-17. I think that Dak Prescott throws for about 4 touchdowns. And, 4 touchdowns for Dak.
4
for
tubs?
4.
4 tubs. I'm going with the juggernaut, Javonte Williams. Over 120 yards on the ground. And not 1, but 2 tubs. Let's go, juggernaut. Let's go.
I'm going real bold, man, that I'm going to get with Stephen Jones after the show and find out and make him pay for me a jacket just like that. Yeah. That's
now,
bold.
That's bold.
Yeah.
That's how you have a bold
I love you, Steve.
Had a whole lot of fun. Special thanks to Pat Donovan, Hollywood Henderson, Stephen Jones, Nick Eatman, Nicole Hutchison for having their hands on this show. We've had so much fun here on the sideline. For Isaiah Standback, Barry Church, Nate Newton, and our entire Dallas Cowboys crew, I'm Kyle Yeomans. 7:20 kickoff, Sunday Night Football. Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys looking to keep their playoff hopes alive against the Vikings. Enjoy the game, everybody.